Hey friends. I the first thing that sort of showed up for me as I was thinking about, okay, what's my post going to be today, was that, you know, sometimes, I mean, as we all know, life moves in chapters, and sometimes I'll get into a particular chapter and it'll feel as though it's a trying one a or a tiring one. It'll feel, or just a demanding one. It exhausts me, and often, while that experience is happening, or while I'm heading kind of into that experience, which often feels a little bit like heading into a storm, it just feels like a little too much, to sort of keep on top of. Things are getting away from me, or I'm getting overextended, overexerted in order to be able to keep up. Um, what showed up today was a recognition that I've had many times, but that it's always good to be reminded of, which is that whenever that happens, it's almost always a precursor to an even deeper experience of life, an even deeper experience of my life practice. And there's something that happens that I've been talking about with my daughter recently. She's got this movie, Leap. It's an animated film about a young woman who wants to be a dancer. Takes place in France. She and this other kid break out of an orphanage and they go to Paris, and she becomes a dancer and he becomes an inventor. And it's not the best movie. It's not my favorite movie. But what I will say for it is that it makes kids want to be dancers. It instills an enthusiasm for dance. And it's really fun to see that. She'll come out of that movie and change into her leotard and just dance in the living room for an hour afterwards. And there's a line in the movie where the mentor character, whom the girl meets almost immediately when she gets to Paris, the mentor says, it's when you are most tired, or it's when you're tired that you improve the most. And at some point, I got smart and I started invoking that when I'm practicing violin with my daughter. I coach her on violin, and she's learning piano now too. And nothing will make you tired like practicing a demanding instrument. And I as I've started to invoke that, it actually has had an effect. I think the source of it, the fact that it comes from from a film that she loves so much and that she's so into, that helps. That buys the sentiment some cred. And you can probably see where I'm going with this, but when you're tired, you learn the most. It's when you're tired that you improve the most. That also goes for life. And these chapters where we're being given a little too much, what seems like a little too much. We're just kind of a little over the line, a little over the edge, a little just can't quite feel like we're holding on. that's when we're really making change. And it's pretty routine now that after a chapter like this one, something really rises. And that's good, because I've got some stuff coming up. I've got some things in the next week or two. The next 2 weeks are big. I'm presenting at a music teachers conference. Then I'm going immediately to a music camp with my daughter. We are moving into some really exciting times here. And I'm just as I manage to embrace this kind of like fatigue, there's something that can happen when, as I was saying, when we have this, start to have this experience of there's too much to hold on to, there's too much to try to control. It's just getting a little out of control. It's just a little overwhelming, or it's costing so much that it's like it's not, maybe we're handling it, maybe we're managing to keep it together, we're managing to handle it, but it's like, but I can't keep doing this forever. Like something's gonna give. I can't keep doing this forever. There's that overextension feeling. There's something that can happen in the midst of that where we actually say, okay, so I'm going to surrender to this. I'm not going to, it's getting out of control. I'm not going to try to control it. That doesn't mean we check out or that we let ourselves off the hook for making the necessary effort in a given situation or on a given project, in a given relationship. There are times when the effort will be Herculean, but we can surrender to that effort, and this is what true effortlessness, this is how I've always heard true effortlessness defined by martial artists, by spiritual practitioners, by people who, but by elite athletes even, by people who really know, by people who know what they're talking about, people who know what genuine effortlessness is, not being too lazy to make an effort. That's not effortlessness. And so there's a kind of ease that emerges within whatever the effort is. And I think, when you're tired is when you improve the most. The reason is we learn to do things with less effort. We're learning to do things with as efficient an effort as possible. And man, I can always afford to learn that lesson a little deeper. I can always afford to take that one up one more level. So it's what's coming through today, and it's what feels very right as I head into the next couple weeks. I'm going to see what this is all about. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you soon.